Today I would be talking about Viola, the heroine of Shakespeare, of his famous comedy Twelfth Night. Viola, as we see, is a very sweet tempered, very charming, pretty in appearance, very intelligent, very tactful, very wise, and very sympathetic person. One of the Shakespeare's critics says about Viola, she's Shakespeare's ideal of patient idolatry and devoted silence, self sacrifice of perfect love. The most striking quality of her character is that, unlike all other women, she is not at all jealous, particularly in matters of love in which both men and women are alike jealous. We notice in the play how Viola plays the role of love messenger of the Duke to Olivia. We know that Viola is already in love with the Duke, and yet she plays the role of love messenger of the Duke to another woman, Olivia, who is her rival in love. Viola is either totally indifferent to jealousy or rivalry, or she is conscious of her superiority over Olivia, or she is fearful of her existence because at that point of time she is herself not comfortable. She is in a foreign land, she is a refugee, she is disguised as a boy, and she has to seek her own identity somewhere. So maybe all these things have made her the way she is. But it would be oversimplification of her character if we say that out of fear or out of superiority complex she behaves the way she behaves. No, I don't think it is like this. She is basically meant to be a very balanced character. She is balanced. We can see that right from the beginning, right from the incidents of shipwreck, where Viola is left all alone. There is no one to take care of her. She had a brother and she had lost that brother also. She has nowhere to go. And there was only a captain and the sea which is left to her. And at that moment, she decides what to do. And she decides in a very balanced way, and she has a very composed mind at that time. She is very wise at that time, and she behaves very intelligently. She trusts the captain as she had no other choice, but at the same point of time she makes herself she ensures herself, and somewhere she ensures herself of the character of the captain, and when she believes in captain, then only she decides to leave the place for Orsino's castle. And when she goes to Orsino's castle and in the disguise of Cesario, and when she is employed as an attendant to Orsino, very soon, due to her intelligence, due to her loyalty, or due to her honesty, and due to her sense of humor, and due to her quick grasping of characters or quick grasping of situations, she becomes the favorite of Orsino. And Orsino trusts her with the task of sending his love messages to Olivia. And she knows that at the first instance itself, she comes to know that Olivia would not respond to Orsino, or Olivia does not have a favorable opinion of Orsino. And as Olivia's opinion of Orsino grows with the passage of time in a negative way, on one hand, Olivia is not responding to Orsino, and on the other hand, we see our Viola responding in a very positive way to Orsino. Orsino is a character who needs a balanced woman because he himself is a sort of wreck. He himself is very unruly. He himself is very moody. And he himself is so much romantic that sometimes we feel that Orsino is only romance, or Orsino does not know anything of reality. Whereas Olivia appears to be very realistic, but we come to know that Olivia is equally romantic, or Olivia is equally living in dreams as Orsino does. So both these characters are not footed, or they are not grounded in reality. They are since they have they are they belong to nobility. They have every comfort which they can enjoy. But Voila also belonged to nobility. Voila also belongs to an aristocratic family. But nowhere she, she throws tantrums, or nowhere we find Voila as if, that she's not behaving properly, or she has a superiority complex, or she's missing her luxurious life. Nowhere we feel that way. So we find Voila very much balanced in her character, whereas Orsino and Olivia, they keep on fluctuating, and most of the time they fluctuate due to their comfort, they fluctuate due to the luxurious life they are living, they fluctuate due to the wealth which they have been bestowed upon by their aristocracy. Find them behaving improperly towards their servants. We find them sometimes behaving very improperly towards their relations, and many times we feel that they should be behaving in a better way towards their seniors, or their parents. When Olivia is lost her father, and we somewhere in the beginning of the play we come to know that she's missing her father. But when such a dialogue appears at the very same moment, or after a few dialogues, we come to know that whether she is missing her father, or it is only for the sake of saying that she is saying that she is missing her father. In the same way, Orsino is also not very obedient, or very honest as far as duties are concerned. But these follies, or these frolics, or these such a playful behavior is the fashion of the noble class. And both of them, Olivia and Orsino, they belong to nobility, and throwing tantrums, or having lot of party or merrymaking is part of their life. And Orsino is most of the time singing in love, or he's reciting poems for Olivia. But at the same point of time, when Voila is there and she is listening to those poems, she is not jealous. She knows that Orsino is in love with Olivia, and even when she knows this fact, she falls in love gradually with Orsino. And in the later part of the play, when she visits Olivia once again, and all her disguise fails, and she's losing her identity of Cesario at this very point, when she has nowhere to go. Her brother Sebastian appears on the plot, and with the appearance of Sebastian, there is a gradual change in the attitude of Olivia. She accepts Voila as Voila is, and she accepts Sebastian in her place. And in the same manner, Orsino accepts Voila in her place. But the identity crisis which Voila was facing all the while, that identity crisis is solved, and she gets her identity back of a woman, and she gets the identity of Duchess as well. Since it is a comedy, it has to end it has to end in favor of the protagonist, and everything has to be happy in the end. So it ends happily, and but we find that Voila is not a part of the comedy. I would say this because her character is nowhere a part of the comedy. Yes, some of her puns, some of her satires, not exactly satires, but yes, some of her dialogues which fixes Orsino, or which fix Olivia as well. These dialogues, apart from these dialogues, nowhere we find that Voila is very shrewd, or Voila is very calculative, or Voila is impatient to find her identity. She may be impatient, but the glory of her character is, the pride of her character is, she balanced the patience, she maintained the patience, she maintained the balance throughout the play. And in the end also, we realize, though she is very happy to have her brother back, to have her love by herself, she is not overboard. She's still fixed, and still very much set on ground, and that is the beauty of her character. Besides her looks, she's very charming, she's very attractive, and she has a very pretty face, and the whole demure, how, or the whole look, she carries the charm. She's so naturally charming that, out of the print, out of those words, or out of those letters, or out of those sentences, we would find that the charm of Voila is coming, as if, a real Voila is coming out of the prints of Shakespeare's play. Thank you.